Hey guys, so GCSE results day can be bittersweet. It's the end of an era. You're probably really glad that school is behind you and you can go forward with what you want to do. However, it can also be a really difficult day if you didn't get the GCSE results that you had planned for and you had hoped for and even worked really hard for. So if you find yourself in the position where you are looking at your grades after getting your results and you are not happy with what you have gotten, you've maybe not gotten the grades that you need to move on to your chosen A levels, or even thinking even further ahead, thinking of your UCAS points and university, remember you have options. I'm going to tell you the 5 things you can do right away to cope with unexpected results if you didn't get the results that you wanted in your GCSE results, if you're part of my outgoing year 11s, okay? So let's get to it. Let's say you've seen your results, you're not really happy with what you're seeing, you're feeling like it's the end of the world. Number 1, remember that it isn't the end of the world. Don't panic, your life isn't over, okay? GCSE results day can be really stressful, and of course, seeing the results and you're not happy with them can literally feel like everything is crumbling around you, your heart is broken, you'd already set all of these plans and you're like, oh my gosh, my life is over. Don't panic, it's not, okay? So always remember that this is just a bump in the road. That's number 1. Because number 2, what you can do is you firstly, if for example, you're looking at the grades that you got and you're like, oh my God, it's all over. I'm not gonna get the A levels that I've chosen. I'm not gonna get the subjects I've chosen. I'm not gonna be able to go into the university that I need to. When it comes to specifically, if you decide to go on to sixth form or to do your A levels and you've missed those grades, the next thing you can do is literally just talk to your school, your sixth form, and the teachers who are the administrators of the courses that you want to get into. Because remember that many courses in sixth form and in A levels still accept students who don't necessarily get the exact grades that they'd hoped for, okay? So you can literally call them, find out, number 1, are they still going to accept you? You might be surprised that many will still accept you into your chosen subject. However, if they say, no, this is not good enough, what you can then ask them is, what are the next steps? Can I join and then potentially do my resits whilst I'm doing the A level of my choice, or what else is open to me? Remember, you always have options. Now, number 3, what you can do, which is closely related to tip number 2, is if you call your sixth form, if you speak to the teachers and they say, look, we really need these grades a little bit higher, what you can consider is doing your GCSE resits. Again, GCSE resits have this very unfair stigma. Everyone was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna have to do resits. I really don't want to do resits, I want to avoid it. Of course, it's not ideal because you want to focus on what you want to do and what you have selected, rather than thinking about the subjects that you had covered in year 11. However, remember that, for example, if you're doing English and maths resits, this is only going to be just for a few months, between September and November, because the first week of November, the resits are done and they're over, and over 40% of students who do the resits and their exam second time round end up passing and even getting way better grades than they had originally anticipated. And remember, by the way, if you're finding yourself in a position where you are potentially considering GCSE English resits, I'll be running weekly Sunday GCSE masterclasses where I'll be going over how to revise and prepare for the language paper 1 and paper 2 GCSE exams. Lots of my students who joined in these classes in past years have found that this not only boosted their resits, but they had the structure that they needed, because of course they're no longer studying for the resits within the classroom, and they were able to face those resits in November and do super well, okay? So if you're finding yourself in a position where you are considering or having to do resits, you always have options. You can sign up also for my masterclasses. They have helped lots and lots of students who have ended up doing really, really well in their resits second time round. Now, tip number 4 is you could also alternatively ask for a remarking of the subject that you are not happy with the grade, okay? So this is another route. And if, for example, you look at the grade that you've gotten and it's way lower, unusually lower than what you had anticipated, and maybe you speak to your teacher who was teaching you this topic, perhaps they are still accessible, and they say, actually, I didn't really anticipate that for you, right? So maybe you find yourself in a position where they also agree. It's unusually low. You can submit that particular paper for a remark. However, I do want to say that do proceed with caution if you decide to go for a remark, because grades, if they are reassessed, can go up or go down. Okay, so remember that just because you get your paper remarked doesn't necessarily mean it's automatically going to go up. It could potentially also be lower. Okay, and then you find yourself in the position where you're thinking, okay, now that this has happened and I've gotten a remark, and not only has this grade been confirmed, but actually it's potentially lower, what do I need to do? Obviously, as I mentioned, you can go to option number 3, which is a reset. Okay, so remember that that's also an option. Of course, with remarking, there's some people who have successfully had their grades revised upwards and gotten a better grade the second time after a remark. And number 5, finally, what you should definitely do if you are feeling like, oh, I did not get that grade that I needed, I'm really stressing, remember that you still have a lot of control and power in your hands. What you need to do after considering these options is now decide what your plan is, okay? And of course, these different options suit different people, okay? Some people will go for some options, others won't. What you need to do is decide what you want for yourself, where you see yourself going, and then make a plan and move forward accordingly. Write down all of your options, consider all of the different roads and routes that you can take, because remember, you always have options, and then move forward accordingly and make sure you set realistic plan and goals. Okay, so best of luck. Even if you haven't seen the grade that you believe you should have gotten, remember, it's not the end of the road. And of course, if you decide to go for the GCSE reset and you find yourself in a position where you are resetting English, you are always very welcome to join in my GCSE masterclasses. Best of luck, and hopefully, if you're joining my masterclasses, speak to you soon.